What is up, guys? Welcome into a brand new video. Now, today we're going to be talking through the news of the cricket games that have come out this week. A bit of normal cricket news, as we do weekly on this channel. Before we get into it, guys, if you could leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. It does massively help out the channel. We'll get straight into it and see how we get on. To start off, we had absolutely no news or any patches over the Christmas period, which is kind of expected, I have to admit. You can't expect to have a patch over the Christmas holidays. Most studios take the Christmas time off, so I'm absolutely fine with Big Ant having some time off, and hopefully we get a update in the new year. Now, one thing that did happen over the Christmas break was that Pakistan went in for their photo, whatever it's called, session with Big Ant. So as you can see, a few of the players going into it. Remember, it's just the test side that's going to be licensed in the game. Well, have player faces in the game. It'll be nice. I spoke about it last week, but we finally got pictures of everyone getting their pictures taken, being ready to be put into the game. It's a shame they can't do the kind of the ping pong ball thing that they do, so you get all of their shots as well. That's class, but unfortunately we haven't got that. It's just going to be player faces. There is a video, but I don't think. I think it's just what we saw for stills. So that'll be done. Apparently that is going to be coming into the game in January. So that should be exciting. I did see, I think it was this, did a markup for the new game. I thought that actually looks quite good with Bar Razam on the cover. I don't think we'll actually get this, but it would be nice to see. Now, no more real cricket gaming news. Again, as I said, most of the developer studios are off until the new year now, so we should hear a lot more coming out when everyone's back to work. But we did have some cricket, and we had to start off with a test squad announcement from South Africa, because no one knows who these people are. So basically, there is a test squad going out to New Zealand for South Africa. And it's basically players that don't have an SA20 contract. So the South African Cricket Board are prioritising the SA20, the franchise league that's Indian-backed, over sending a fully fledged test squad out to New Zealand, which is there's two ways you could look at this. You can say, okay, South Africa are concentrating on white ball cricket. T20 is where all the money is. And if you're not one of England, Australia, or India, you can make a lot more money playing T20s than you can playing Test cricket. The thing that worries me is that there is calls for the 100 to be backed from outside investment, outside of the ECB. And if they're going to say, oh, no, we need the England players here. We need them playing in our 100 or our T20 Blast franchise, or whatever they're going to call it, if they're going to keep it with 100. I don't think they will. I don't think people will want to invest in the 100. I think they'll want to invest in an English T20 league, personally. But then again, some of these IPO owners just have too much money. So this is going to be the squad for the New Zealand side from South Africa, and could very, very well be the death of Test cricket that we are watching right here. With, I mean, a board actively saying, no, all of our Premier players are going to play in our franchise competition rather than our Test matches. It would be like England saying, well, no, Ben Stokes, Joe Root, Zach Crawley, all of the players that have 100 deals aren't going to play against the West Indies in the summer. There would be outrage. I mean, there's outrage that we play the 50 over cup at the same time as the 100. And I mean, no one watches that. I do, because I watch any cricket, but there's about 4 people watching those YouTube streams, maybe 500 at a time, but not many people are watching it. The 100 is far better than the 50 over cup, in my opinion. But yeah, interesting times. Moving on to some South African cricket that actually happened. South Africa played India in the first test in South Africa. I can't even remember where it was. Where was it? Centurion, wasn't it? South Africa ended up winning by an innings and 32 runs. I mean, India made it look like a really difficult pitch. And it turns out it kind of wasn't. Well, it was. It was a bit spicy, but Dean Elgar showed kind of how to bat it. He was very unlucky not to score a double ton. Good. I'm trying to think who else. Bellingham got some runs. Janssen got some runs. It was all pretty comfortable for South Africa. The bowling unit looks unreal. It really does. I mean, that's always going to be the best part of the game, and if they can chip in with some runs, then that's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, dominant looks very difficult to win in South Africa at the moment, especially for India. India seem to really struggle in South Africa. I think they've won 4 tests out of 24 in South Africa in their history. So I'd put a big bet on South Africa to win. I think you can actually get above evens at the moment if you want to put that on. So have a little bet on the New Year's test for South Africa. Australia finished off their 2023, which has been it's been pretty good. What do they do? They won the World Test Championship. They retained the Ashes, and they won the 50 over World Cup. Now they've beaten Pakistan in a 2-0 series. Yeah, it was pretty dominant for. I say it was dominant. It wasn't. The 75-run win made it look like it was a little bit more one-sided. It wasn't. Pakistan were 1 catch away from winning the game, and I stand by that. Also, there was a bit of controversy about the Rizwan off the glove, off the arm, and then you look back and it could have been a no ball, but they said that they checked it and there could have been like a millimetre of the boot behind the line, but you're not 100% sure. I don't know, but Australia just seem to keep winning. It's quite upsetting. We obviously go to Sydney now for the last test of the series, and what should be David Warner's last test. So let's hope for a couple of ducks from David. That would be nice to see. But it would surprise me if Pakistan get anything out of the last test. Maybe a draw. That's the only thing I will say. It is usually rains in Sydney, and the forecast is looking like it's going to rain again. To finish it off, we got the men's test team of 2023. Interesting, I'll say as much. Usman Khawaja, I don't think you can complain about. He scored the most runs this year at an average of about 50. Travis Head being in them, interesting. Apart from, 1 innings in the Ashes? Maybe a couple innings in the Ashes. And obviously the World Test Championship. Did he do much in tests this year to be in the men's test team of the year? Is he an opener? No. I don't know. Does Travis Head? I think Travis Head is a great player, and I think you have to have him in the ODI team of the year. I definitely have him in that, but would I have him in the test team? I don't know. Who else do you look as an opener? Zach Crawley had an unreal Ashes. He averaged 50 in the Ashes. It's basically all the cricket that England have played this year. I'm just saying, he's an actual opener and averaged 50. So who knows? Kane Williamson, I think, scored 4 tons. So that makes sense. And he was injured for half the year. I know no one really played a lot of Test cricket this year, apart from Australia. Australia seemed to play a lot because they obviously had the 2 at the end of the year, 5 in the Ashes, 1 in the World Test Championship, and then they had 4 in India before. And I think you had the New Year's Test in Sydney that counts as 2023 as well. So Australia was the only one that actually played any cricket this year. Joe Root at 4 makes sense, averaged 65 this year. I don't know what Harry Brook ended up averaging. It was probably quite a lot. I think he was about 40, 45 in the Ashes. And then obviously was averaging like 100 at the start of the year from the couple of tests in New Zealand. So that's fine. Tom Blunder just always seems to score runs against England, so I completely agree with that. Jadeja and Ashwin makes sense because you had those 4 tests in India. And also when they went to the West Indies, they gave them some turning pitches as well. So they could play 2 spinners on there, which was wild at the time. Pat Cummins, I guess, makes sense. Would I have him as captain? I guess he's the only one that is actually the captain there. I guess you'd have to give it to him. Would I rather Joe Root as a captain over Pat Cummins? Maybe. I definitely have Ben Stokes as a captain over Pat Cummins. I think Ben Stokes is a 10 times better captain than Pat Cummins is. Mitchell Starc, okay. I guess he was the leading wicket taker in the Ashes when he only played 4 games. I think that's what happened. And then Broad obviously has to be in there because he lit it up in New Zealand as well. He bowled really well in New Zealand. And then was our best bowler by far in the Ashes. So I could agree with that men's test team. Okay, this was the men's ODI team of the year. India dominated with, how many players they got? 6 in there, which makes sense. I mean, they've played the most ODI cricket and have looked the most dominant team in ODI cricket, with the exception of the World Cup final. That's the only time that they've had a team that's looked better than them in ODIs. Travis Head being in there makes complete sense. Zampa in there makes complete sense. He basically won them the World Cup, and I stand by that. Him actually having the tournament of his life for 8 games makes sense. And the only reason that Australia actually won it, otherwise I don't think they make it through to the semis. After the first 2 games, Zampa was dealing with that back problem, and that's why they looked so bad. Zampa offering the control and a guaranteed kind of 2-3 for 40 off of his 10 that he just seemed to keep giving him every single time. That's why they won the World Cup. Daryl Mitchell, again, just scores runs all the time. Klaasen scores runs all the time. Janssen kind of looks like the breakout player from the World Cup, but obviously he had a few whispers around him already. He looked pretty good. Shami, of course. Bumrah, of course. Yadav, of course. Virat just kept scoring runs, didn't he? It was unreal, that tournament. Gill, I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember him scoring any runs. I think he scored quite a few centuries at the start of the year. I think that's probably what's got him in. And then Rohit, obviously, for India, setting the standard of how they wanted to play. He really got them out the gates quickly every single time, and he's also captain of the team. It makes sense that there's no Cummins or Stark or Hazelwood or anything like that. I think just 2 Australians in there is fair, although they won the World Cup. Again, I'm going to go back to what people have taken the mick out, but India are the better team. They're just complete bottle jobs. And that's the reason that Australia won. That final is just India completely bottled it. It was theirs to win, and they just threw it away. A quick look at the T20 team. It is what it is. There hasn't been a lot of T20 cricket this year. Most of it's been the build-up to the ODIs. So most of this would be from franchise stuff. So there it is. That's kind of how it is. But guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I very much hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave a like. Please remember to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.